Hey guys, welcome. Glad you stopped by. Just in time for dinner, pretty much. You can at least sit and talk to me while we cook. Today we're gonna do something. I've had this recipe for a minute and I've been hesitating to try it. Not because it doesn't sound good, but it represents one of my favorite fast food restaurants. And they originated here in Columbus, and it's White Castles. You may not have one where you live, I don't know, but I know that it was founded by Bill Ingram in 1921, and the original concept started in Kansas, and they were deemed the first fast food hamburger. But they're predominantly out of Columbus, Ohio. They are still family owned. They've been run now by 4 generations, still going strong, and I don't get to eat them very often because nobody in my house likes them but me. And they are favorites of the after bar crowd, although I could eat them pretty much any time and have since I was a kid. And this recipe, it scares me a little, but I think it'll taste great. We'll find out. And it's quick and it's easy, but I know what a White Castle should taste like because I eat them, you know, every so often, and I'm hoping that it really does taste like a White Castle. So that being said, if this is your first video, welcome. Get something out of this video, check out some of my other videos. If you're returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Hands down, our village is, you know, steadily going into a village, not a neighborhood. That being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We are well on our way to hitting our end goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would like to keep that momentum rolling, hands down. I mean, we're over 3,500 now, and you know, I think we can do it. I really do think we can. Comments are always welcomed. The only thing I ask is you be polite. It's okay to disagree with me. Anybody in the comments have a difference of opinion, that's a good thing. Just be polite. That's all I ask, is think before you type. That being said, why don't we head on down here to the counter and we will get started on this dish. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. So things we will need to do. We want to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. You want an oven safe skillet. I'm using cast iron. You could use aluminum or whatever, not aluminum, but the stainless steel, aluminum, copper gig, whatever will go in your oven. If not, you can use a 9x13 pan if you just have to transfer it all in. So the first thing we're going to do, now that I've got my cast iron warmed up, I've got 1 medium onion diced right here. This varied from the recipe because, well, let's get this in here and then I'll talk. We'll go ahead and get those in there, and I'm going to get those cooking real quick. But I actually worked at White Castle when I was a teenager, and the first thing they did before they put the hamburger down was put down a bed of onions. I mean, a bed of onions. So I've got 1 medium onion here, and I let it soak in salt for, after I diced it up, finally diced it up, I sprinkled some salt on it, a little bit of water, about 2 tablespoons of water, and I just let it sit for about a half hour. That way I can draw out some of that onion flavor, because I know the water is going to evaporate pretty quick. And then to this, I'm going to go ahead and put 1 pound of ground beef in there now. And yes, I buy my ground beef in bulk and I package it up individually. It's cheaper that way. I put it into 1 pound packages, stick it in the freezer. And I pull the air out of it. Even though it's a Ziploc, I believe it or not, use a straw. I find it more economical than buying the vacuum seal wrap for my machine at the moment. But anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and get these onions going, get this hamburger cooked. Okay, so the one thing I forgot to tell you to add in, and I oddly enough did not hit play on the camera, is 1 packet of onion soup mix. I went ahead and threw that in there. So you've got your diced onion, you've got your onion soup mix, which never has enough onion in it to begin with, and your pound of hamburger. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cooked up, and then that way we can move on to the next couple steps. Okay, so we are pretty much browned. There might be a little pink left in there, but we're gonna stick it in the oven to cook some more. So it's not like, you know, it has to be, you know, burnt to a crisp. But we are at least crumbled and 95% of the way there, I do believe, if not 100%. And our onions are translucent. We got some bubbling now. I did not tell you what kind of meat I used. I mean, obviously it's hamburger, but it's 80-20. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that skillet off. You can use a leaner meat if you want to, but I think 80-20 probably has the best flavor out of all the variations of hamburger there are out there. And even though it provides a little bit of grease, it's not too much grease. White Castle's is also known for not being very greasy. Now, if you don't want that on there, you can drain it off. I just prefer to have it on there. So now we're gonna make, and this is the part that kind of got me, White Castles are served on a bun. It's a hamburger. This does not get any type of bun like a slider or anything like that, which is what their nickname is, a slider. That's where the term came from the food industry. But it does get a topping on it. So for the topping, you're gonna need a bowl. And then I've got 2 large eggs in there that you can't see because they keep sliding around. And first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna break those. Okay, and you can have them you should have them at room temperature or at least close to it. This has probably been sitting out about 15 minutes or so. You don't want them ice cold. It makes them hard to break and mix. And to that, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, real mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip. I don't know who created Miracle Whip, but my mom grew us up on Miracle Whip. I didn't even know mayonnaise existed until I was an adult, and it was then I realized what all I'd been missing out on. It was kind of sad. But we got a 1/4 cup of mayo. I've got a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, and it's just plain Greek yogurt. I don't think you'd want to add a fruit flavored Greek yogurt to this, but you might. But we've got a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. So the last thing we're going to add to this is a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And then we're going to go ahead and take our whisk and we're going to whisk this all together. So we got our mix together just like such. Now we want to go ahead and we're going to pour this. Actually, I'm going to grab some sharp cheddar cheese. About 2 ounces worth, it's a 1/4 cup, yeah, but I'm going liberal on it. And we're going to take half of it, or 1 ounce, and we'll spread that on here just like this. And we'll give it a good mix in. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect or melty or anything like that. Go ahead and get that off of there. And for those of you that are going, oh my god, he just used his finger to do that with, it's okay, my fingers are clean. Yeah, I promise. Yeah. And if you don't use your hands to cook with, you're missing out. But now that we got that on there, we'll go ahead and take our mix and we're just going to pour this over the top. This is the part that baffled me because this is supposed to represent the bun, and I find that a little odd. I mean, myself, but that's all right. And we're going to go ahead and try to get this smoothed out a little bit so it reaches the 4 corners of the universe, or all edges, since this is round. And then we'll take the other half of our cheese. We're going to put it, sprinkle it on top. Now, if you don't want cheese, because I mean, we're basically making a White Castle with cheese. If you don't want cheese on it, I would assume you don't have to put cheese on it, but we're going to put cheese on this one. So now, all we have to do is go ahead and get her in the oven. That's hot. And we'll set our timer and let her go. So we are looking for, according to the original recipe, like I said, the only thing I did differently on that recipe was the onions. And that's because I really, truly, passionately believe that it needed those onions. I could be wrong, and it may be over onionly. We'll find out when it gets done. But we're gonna let that bake for about 30-35 minutes, and we're looking for golden brown on the top. That's how we'll know it's done. So when I come back, we'll take a look at the finished product and do a little bit of topping on it, and then try some. All right, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, we pulled her out of the oven. Golden brown on top. Took 30 minutes. So the last thing we need to do, and some of it's optional. The original recipe called for ketchup or mustard and tomato on it. I've never had a tomato on a White Castle in my life. They don't even offer them. So I omitted that right off the bat. Pretty much the only options you have from an actual White Castle restaurant, if you've ever eaten there, for their just traditional White Castle cheeseburgers in this case, is they automatically come with a couple pickles on them, and then you have the options for ketchup and mustard. And I know not everybody likes ketchup and mustard on their White Castles. I personally do, but the rest of the household not so much. Now that being said, you could also, instead of using the sharp cheddar on this, you could have just as easily used pepper jack. They have a spicy jack sandwich that you could get, or I mean, it's cheesier choice really. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the pickles on there just like we would. Another option we had, which I may try yet, is instead of the egg-based mix that we put on top, you can put croissant rolls on. I could have put a layer of croissant rolls on there and baked for the same amount of time, which I think is gonna be. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So right there is our finished product. And now I did let this sit for about, well, it's still blazing hot, but I did let it sit for about 5-10 minutes to calm down. I knew it was done because not only was this golden brown on top, but I could see the bubbling around the side. But anyhow, let's give it a shot. I personally am going to put ketchup and mustard on mine, maybe add an additional pickle or two, because that's what I like on my White Castle. Now, things you could serve this with, you could easily serve this with some french fries, some onion rings. The White Castle in and of themselves carries a ton of different stuff to side options. They've got mozzarella sticks, chicken rings, which are amazing, by the way. I highly recommend those. Just all kinds of goodies to eat. But here is our finished product right there. Now I am going to put a little ketchup and a little mustard on mine because that's what I like. Like I said, I mean, you could put tomato on it. That really threw me off because a true White Castle, it doesn't have tomato. Get our mustard on there, just like that. And that, my friends, would be a version of a White Castle I would eat right there. Ketchup, mustard, pickles, some cheese, with or without cheese. It's completely, personal choice, I suppose. Oh, there we are. Get my glasses off so we don't have that ungodful glare. All right, here we go. I mean, it smells fantastic. It looks good, but let's see if it really tastes like a White Castle. That's what's exciting to me. Oddly enough, that really does pretty much taste like a White Castle. I am quite impressed. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. It's one of my favorite foods since I was a kid. They're little hamburgers. Yeah, and they have sold 28 billion hamburgers since 1921. That's insane. And they're not an international chain. But that really, yeah. So, let me get one more bite. One more bite in. I was really concerned about that topping because I thought, Okay, it's egg based. So it's, I mean, to me, in a way, it kind of looks like scrambled eggs with a lot of cheese. But, remember how I mentioned a second ago how they steam their White Castles on a bed of onions with the bun on top? That tastes just like the top bun when it's been steamed. I mean, that's really that's ingenious. It really is. I got this recipe off of 365 Days of Slow Cooker. They do a lot of, by they I mean she, does a lot of Instapot and slow cooker recipes. And this is one you could do in the oven. And I thought, I'm gonna give it a try. I love White Castles. That really does do it justice. I would highly recommend it. I would also recommend dicing up an onion and doing like I did. Dice it up, salt it, put a little water in there and let it sit for about a half hour, 45 minutes. Longer the better. That way you draw out that onion juice. That is quintessential White Castle right there, that diced onion with the onion juice. But that really is a very good representation of a White Castle. I don't know what it tastes like without the ketchup and mustard, but I know with the ketchup and mustard, which like I said is the way I like it. Right here, we'll find out because I have some on the spoon without it. Yeah, I mean, that really, that's good. Give this a try. If you have never had a White Castle, this is what they taste like for the most part. I mean, I don't think you could truly duplicate a true White Castle, but that's pretty close. Or if you like White Castle, even if you don't like White Castle, I think you like this. Hands down. That is really good. Give this a try. Let me know if you do. Leave me a comment down below. Find me on Facebook through the group. We got Mr. Smith's Kitchen group. You can just find me on Facebook, Instagram, both. And yeah, let me know. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. That's really good. Tomorrow we are going to do a cake of some sort. It's either going to be a Dr. Pepper cake, which I'm very excited to try, or a it's a lovely two-layer chocolate cake with Dr. Pepper, much like the Coke cake I did a long while back. Only I think it's gonna be better because I like Dr. Pepper better than I do Coke. Or it'll be a Milky Way bundt cake. I don't know why I thought that sounds amazing, but it does sound amazing to me. And there is probably a million recipes for one, so I started slamming one together. But it'll be one of those two. So, till tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you feel good and smile to tell them that. And if you make them some of this White Castle casserole, I guarantee it's going to lead to good conversation and an evening with friends, neighbors, family, maybe all the above if you invite them all over. So, till tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I'll see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.